Hello, Transurfer and the Transurfing Curious. Back to the basics today. Lifetracks. My name is Renee Garcia, guys, and this is TransurfingTV. And today on TransurfingTV, I'm going to cover, one of the concepts in this modality that I have to say, honestly, I took for granted initially. I have noticed that in my time doing this, people either come through this concept to the other side being absolute, like they're ready for transurfing, right? This concept alone can completely win someone over quickly. At the same time, it can also send someone away because the fundamental nature or structure rather of how our reality is built, what it consists of, this idea, Lifetracks, and the alternative space rather. This can almost seem too clinical for some people. And I think that science-y sort of vibe when people are coming to a modality for, the purposes of self-development, it can kind of turn some folks off. And I've definitely noticed that with people in my own life, right? When I got into transurfing first and was like, oh my God, you got to read this book, and here, listen to this audiobook. People were like, what the hell is this? So if you've ever referred anyone to Reality Transurfing and they weren't interested, this is probably why, right? It's, again, a structure that either you can totally see and you get or you don't. So the cool thing about this idea, the alternative space and Lifetracks, is that once you have sort of applied this concept to your mind, to your worldview, to your perspective, all of a sudden it helps the other concepts to really get into play, right? You can start using them much more easily when you fully get this. And there have been a few occasions in my time as a trainer when I used to actually give one-on-one training that people that failed to get this stuff really couldn't see results with the rest of it, right? That it really is the foundation of your reality creation practice. So I'm going to break it all down for the new guys here on the channel, because I know we've been getting a lot of people coming to this modality that have not yet read the book or listened to the audio. We have the audio book, so remember those. We'll put the links below. And buy the book, right? Buy the book. The best way to learn this stuff is to read the book. I know it's a big book, but it is so worth it. And laying this sort of groundwork first is going to help you to really take the concepts after and apply them to your life to see results, right? Because this is what it's about, seeing results. So before I get started on all this, remember to like this video and comment and subscribe and all that jazz, and follow us on the Facebook group, International Transurfing Institute Facebook group, Instagram, reality_transurfing. And I'll put the link for the Patreon site below. If you would like to get ad-free audiobooks and a ton of bonuses, we will definitely hook you up if you become a Patreon member. Okay, so Lifetracks. Well, first off, and I should have said, the alternative space or the space of variations and Lifetracks, because it's a little bit hard to teach one without the other. But again, this is the structure or the framework that will become your new, your new worldview, how you view reality. It's very neutralizing. It's very non-dualistic, right? Evidence to support all theories. This one statement alone made by Vadim Zeland is enough to completely transform your entire layer of reality, your entire experience of reality. And the reason for that is because once you realize that you can virtually choose anything you want, right? Any theory that you want about yourself or your reality, an idea, a goal. If you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to choose this theory that I'm a successful person that has everything in life that I want. This theory in the alternative space, the matrix, right? The grand, vast structure that is our reality. If you choose to believe that this theory exists in this vast network of information, then what happens is you will actively go about your reality, your layer of reality, seeking out information that is going to support that theory. And in turn, your reality is going to present to you more and more information exponentially as you begin to resonate with this theory more. This is why people in life get exactly what they choose, right? If somebody believes that the world's a scary place and full of all sorts of unpleasant things, and everyone's just kind of, nobody's a good person, and I'm depressed, and life isn't good, and all that kind of negative, low frequency stuff, then you are going to, again, go about your reality seeking information that is going to support that theory, because as human beings, this is what we do, right? We look to find information, material, and evidence that lines up with our worldview, because we don't like to be wrong as human beings. So the cool part and the flip side of this equation, even if you're in not such a good spot in life right now, if you decide for yourself, okay, I'm going to choose this new theory of life, about life. I'm going to choose this theory that things maybe haven't been working out so well for me, but I've hit a turning point. I found reality transurfing, and I'm going to take these concepts and achieve success with them. And I am a successful person. This is my new theory, right? All of a sudden, your world, the space outside of you, your layer of reality, is going to start looking a lot different. Now, it's not that once you make this choice and you set this intention with this new theory, that it's going to be completely supported by your reality indefinitely and that new reality is set. You have to go about building out this new version of reality for yourself, but this is the foundation in which you build that structure on, right? This is exactly what you need to work out before you take the other tools, the other concepts, and start actually building your new structure of whatever it is you want to experience in life. So you get exactly what you choose, nothing more, nothing less. This is why people that are negative thinkers and depressed aren't, seeing family and saying, oh my God, this amazing thing just happened to me. Their version of reality that they're experiencing is not in line with amazing things happening to them. So amazing things don't happen to them. That's why transurfers that are practicing these concepts are encountering amazing, good things consistently, the wave of fortune, the wave of success, and we will get more into that in a moment and how this plays out exactly within this structure here. So, third point, cause and effect. Your layer of reality right now is simply a culmination of moves that you've made, thoughts that you've had, things that you've done, and the effects of those moves and those thoughts and those actions and your frequency. So your layer of reality is simply a product of what it is that you've put into it, cause and effect, especially your thought quality, right? So the thought quality, before I get into the rest of this, the thought quality is really what makes up your reality. Whatever your thoughts are about, this way of thinking, this pattern of thinking, is going to highlight a sector of reality that is directly in line with this version of thinking. That's why for me, things just keep getting better and bigger and more fun and more adventure and more freedom and more of the things that I want, is because my pattern of thinking supports this and continues to highlight everything in my reality that is in line with my structure of thinking. So for set and decorations, again, this is kind of like cause and effect, but this is more about what your reality actually physically consists of. So for those of you that did not read the book yet, or for those of you that maybe don't recall this story, it is an absolutely good one to show an example of exactly how the set and decorations part of the alternative space and Lifetrack is really, really pertinent to your experience of reality. So there are a couple of European tourists in a beautiful European city. They're in the town square, they're enjoying themselves, they're eating ice cream, they're looking at the different people that they can see around them, the beautiful architecture, the sunny day. They're having a good experience of reality. Their set and decorations, again, are in line with the quality of their thinking. Now, there's a homeless man that's sitting next to a dumpster, and he has an empty alcohol bottle. He's fearful of going into withdrawals. The policeman is looking at him suspiciously. He's hungry. His version of reality that he's experiencing, even though they're all in the exact same scenario, are entirely different, right? What the European tourists are seeing is very, very different than what the homeless man is seeing. But again, the set and decorations around them are all the same. It's their thought quality and their experience of reality that is connecting them with each of what they're experiencing, right? So if you want something better and bigger for yourself, there's a way to it. If you do not catch yourself, then you will experience a layer of reality, a life track that is definitely undesirable, and the set and decorations absolutely support that, right? It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing stuff. So here's a little bit of a more advanced idea about Lifetracks that is really just a brief statement in the book, and it's kind of it's amazing that there's Vadim Zeland doesn't elaborate more on this, because it is such a beautiful bit of information that will completely transform your reality if you can tap into it and really understand the power and the value of this. So essentially what Vadim Zeland is stating is that who you are as an individual, the true essence of your being, your character in its purest form, if you can tap into that, really be connected to what is intended for you in your life. That means you going towards the goal that's intended for you, through the doors that are intended for you, experiencing all of the things that you as an individual, what's meaningful to you, right? Not living the life of somebody else, not living for other people, but if you're truly tapped into who you are, your individuality, and what's valuable to you, and you have accessed your soul frail, if you've done this, you are going to start resonating at a frequency that is going to connect you with one of these higher layers of reality. So for those of you that have watched this channel, and for those of you that are new to this channel, I like to envision that every day and in my life in general, I have a certain number of lifelines that are available to me. In the book, it says they're infinite, but just so I can wrap my little mind around, is something that provides a little more structure, I like to envision there's 10, right? So the top layer of reality is me tapped into my soul frail. This is me living my meaning, my purpose, living with meaning, living my purpose. This is me doing what I want to do in my life. This is me tapping into my natural abilities. This is me having heart and mind coordination. This is me, again, living my soul frail, my individuality. And this helps me to connect more and more and more with higher and higher lifelines. Now, when I'm living for others, mixed up in pendulums, having an induced transition, what I'll get to in a moment, this is going to put me on one of these bottom lifelines, right? Because this is the opposite of me tapping into my soul frail. This is me focusing on the negative. This is me not living with heart and mind coordination. This is me viewing reality as a depressed place, no fun, I'm not getting what I want, things aren't working out, all of that kind of stuff. Again, bottom lifeline. So tapping into your soul frail should be your number one objective with this modality, because when you are tapped into your soul frail, things get better and you get more of what it is that you want. So 6, before I get into the wave of fortune and the induced transition, 6, heaven and hell. We create our own heaven, we create our own hell, and this is done within the mind, right? So if you want, oh boy, I spelled heaven wrong here. If you want to experience heaven, you have to set yourself up in a position where you are going to, in fact, experience heaven, right? This is the wave of fortune. This is you plugged into your soul frail. This is you choosing a theory that is good for you, for your reality, for your trajectory. This is you choosing positive information. This is you choosing to focus on what is good about your reality and what is good about your life, and turning away and not allowing negative information to, infringe on your layer of reality. So we choose our own heaven and we choose our own hell. And the accountability in this is really wild, right? Once you really grasp these concepts and start working with them, anytime you go down in those layers of reality and you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I'm in an induced transition, you know that you created your own hell, right? And there's a very easy way out of that. Making a new choice, choosing a new theory, right? Understanding the cause and effect of the whole idea that everything you're experiencing is simply a product of something that you've thought or done. And of course, continuing to highlight that sector of reality that is going to be fruitful and beautiful and provide you with what it is you want to experience in your life. So again, the lifelines layered on top of each other, stacked, right? Lifetracks, lifelines. You go up, this is you exponentially highlighting and creating more and more positive information in your layer of reality. When you get going on this, it just evolves and it snowballs, and before you know it, you've hit the wave of success and everything's really, really good, right? Not a permanent state, but you can hit those waves often and get yourself up to some of those higher lifelines. And, like I say, I used to be probably down, well, I was definitely down on the bottom ones, and maybe I'd move up to like this kind of level before transurfing. And now I'm like probably here or here mainly, and then I hit, the really high one, but I never really go down anymore. This whole space down here is just sort of like an area that I don't occupy because I understand the tools to keep me up on these higher lifelines. And going down to these lower lifelines, this is the induced transition, right? This is you creating your own hell. It's you choosing a theory, life sucks, nothing ever works out for me, why are things always so hard, thinking about what you don't like and what you don't want, and then obviously what you don't like and what you don't want exponentially increases in your layer of reality, giving you more of the same. So it's up to you now, right? It's up to you now. And for those of you that are new to this channel, I would definitely recommend reading the book 100% and start with your very, very first step, choosing a theory about yourself and your life that supports you getting what it is that you want. And then you go about using these tools to work with your reality and actually materialize that version of reality. Remember, your soul frail will help you connect to the highest and best lifeline that's available to you. And this is absolutely real because this is what is happening for me. And it is awesome, guys. So remember to join us on Facebook, comment, like, subscribe here. And thank you all so much for watching my video. Bye, guys.